We're now going to look at scaling our reference drawings when we bring them in. Now, as usual, I've got Scale Complete open. If you want to follow along with the video, look up scale.dwg in your working files. Now, the drawing itself hasn't actually got any reference drawings in it right now. There's the ground floor, there's the first floor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert the references and show you what happens when we change the scale and when we change a uniform scale as well. Insert tab on the ribbon, and I go to Attach, and I'm going to attach the topography first, like we've done in the past with many of the other videos. I click on Open, and I'm not going to change any of the settings. I'm going to make sure it's an attachment reference type. Scale is 1 for X, Y, and Z. Insertion point 0, 0, 0. Note that scale and insertion points specified on screen settings are unticked. Path type will be a relative path. Rotation will be 0 degrees. Click on OK. Now we've got the unreconciled layers bubble there. Just click on the cross to close that. And if I zoom out a bit now, you can see that the topography has gone in as it should. Let's have a look now if I scale the footprint foundation. So if I click on Attach here, there's the footprint foundation. I click on Open. And as you can see, all the settings come in. It's an attachment reference type. Scale is at the moment the default of 1. Now I'm going to change that. I'm going to make the X value 2 and the Y value 3. Everything else I'll leave the same. Z we don't need to change because we're not working in 3 dimensions. Insertion point 0, 0, and 0. Path type relative. Rotation again 0. If I click on OK now, look what happens to our reference. I'll just lose the unreconciled layers there. If I zoom out a bit, it's way too big, it's stretched, and it's in the wrong place. That's because I've scaled it from the 0, 0 point. It's all stretched in the X direction and the Y direction. So that's how you scale a reference. Now, I've deliberately scaled it wrongly for effect, so that you can see that you can scale things when you bring them in as a reference drawing. Now, it may be that you need to scale up from, say, inches to millimeters. If that's the case, what you would do is you'd perform a uniform scale, both in the X and Y direction. So let's take this back a step. Let's go to Undo, like so. I'll undo again and again until we lose that reference. Now, go to your reference palette here. Click here, and you'll notice that topography is the only reference in there. That's because we've done those undos. It's actually taken the footprint reference out. Close the palette. Okay, let's go back to Attach. Let's go back to Footprint Foundation here and open it up again. This time in the scale, I'm going to set this value here to 3. And then I'm going to click Uniform Scale there. So Y and Z also have a value of 3 and they're fixed. You can't change them. Now, if I was scaling up by 25.4, converting inches to millimeters, because there's 25.4 millimeters in every inch, I would put 25.4 in the X box and make it a uniform scale, because you want it to scale that value in all axes. Everything else I'll leave. Insertion point 0, 0, 0, path type relative, rotation 0, click on OK, and if I zoom out again, it actually looks the right shape, it's just much bigger, because we've scaled it 3 times in both the X and 3 times in the Y direction. So shape-wise, it's the same. It's just 3 times bigger, and it's moved 3 times that way and 3 times that way because we've scaled it by 3 times. Again, we've got the unreconciled new layers. We'll lose those. And again, I've deliberately scaled it wrongly for effect so that you can see how that reference changes when you scale it. So that's how you use the scale function when you insert references into your current host AutoCAD drawing.